Good evening, everyone. How's it going? This is New Era Gardner NEG, and I'm gonna make up a quick, dry, what I call turbo um, worm food. I won't call it worm chow, but worm food. And we feed our worms a bunch of different things. We feed them dry, different things. We do manure. I don't have any gloves on, so I'm not going to touch the manure. We feed them the manure, and we also feed them any type of scraps, green scraps, organic matter, fruit and vegetables. Whether you feed it to them whole or you feed it to them blended, we feed them a bunch of different things, and they seem to love everything. The whole thing about the worms is they will devour everything that might have some microbes on it, and eat all that. So I always feed mine a mixture of organic matter. I blend my food. I like to blend it. I freeze it, blend it, makes it easier for it. It becomes a slop. Um, and they seem to go through it a whole lot faster that way. So today I'm just going to make up a quick batch of what I call turbo worm food, dry food, and the ingredients are just going to be simple. They're going to be worm food, which is worm chow, also manure, alpaca manure, that I actually shred, and then I sift it through even a finer than an eighth screen, just to get very fine particle. Usually what I would do is I would make sure this is completely dry. I might lay it out on some paper, let it dry out, get the moisture out of it. It's a little bit better. Could cause some clumping, but it's all right. Also, I'm going to add some kelp. They love the kelp. It's almost sugar for them, so they like that. Also, it's good for our plants. So as you're making your compost, your worm casting compost, you're actually adding more nutrients in it. Also, the other item I'm going to add into is some crab meal. Very fine crab meal. I mean, you can see the dust coming up from it. What I do is I take the crab meal, I put it in my bullet, and I blend it up, and then I sift it through a screen like would be on your window outside. I made a little box, and I sift it, and I get all the fine particles out of it, and that's what I have here. I like it to be as fine as possible. When you're putting it, especially, and it actually adds a grit for them. You will notice that there is a fishy smell, but as it starts to break down in the food and in as they eat it, goes through them, they let it out, and then it becomes castings, and those castings are actually turboed. I call it turbo. So turbo castings. So what I do is I just take a bag. I got a bag that I used before, and I just shake it up. So right now, this is 2 pounds of dry worm food. So I'm just gonna pour it in this bag. Like I said, it's just 2 pounds. Just about, I have 17 worm bins, and just about I can feed about a pound and a half to each bin. This is a quarter cup. Actually, no, this is a half cup. So I'm not gonna put all this in there. I thought it was a quarter cup. Um, it's a little bit, I'm gonna put a little bit more than half in. Um, And then I'm gonna put one level scoop of the crab meal. And then also the crab meal, you know, depends on what you're using for your bedding. You're using a lot of paper. The more paper that you have in there, you lose chitin. And crab meal is high in chitin. So you're adding that back into your. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna close it, I'm just gonna roll it up. And I just wanna mix those two items in there real good. Mix it up real good, get it mixed around, and I don't smell the fish meal, well the crab meal, I don't smell it. I do smell the alfalfa, not the alfalfa, I smell the kelp more than anything, but that's what you want to do. I have a half a pound of alpaca manure. I'm gonna pour in probably about half. And now I'm gonna seal it. So I seal the bag. Now I'm gonna shake it. And you just want to blend it real good. So you just want to mix and get it. Blend it in there real good. So I'm just going to take a look at it. That's good. I like it. I'm going to add a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to add the rest of it. Doing 2 pounds of the worm chow and adding a half a pound Yeah, that looks good. I don't see any spots of where there might be more alpaca manure. That looks good. So this is what you end up with. And, you know, like I said, you could see I mean, that's good. And the worms just love it. I could, I shake it in. I have a shaker that I actually use, and I shake it in. And it's 8 ounces. I can fill that up. And probably 8 ounces I can do in between probably about 3 bins before it's empty. 3 to 4 bins. So I'm using over a pound, but it depends on what I'm doing and what I'm feeding them. I mainly do 3 or 4 bins after I have fed them some green matter. I might actually add that in. So that's what you do. And then you just want to keep it sealed and feed it to them. And you might find as it sits for a while that it might clump up a little bit because there is moisture in the alpaca manure. That's why I say I like to dry it out. I didn't dry it out this time. So, but that's what I do, and that's called turbo worm food. And let me tell you something, they love it. That's what I do, that's what I feed them. And so they're getting a little bit of all the nutrients out of the worm chow, and then they're getting the nutrients out of the alpaca manure. But that's what you want to do, and feed it to them how much you want to feed to them. I noticed I fed my worms what I had last night, and I could tell you that this morning and this afternoon when I checked some of the bins, that dry chow was gone. That dry worm food was gone. So they like it with the grain, and they like it with the manure in it. So if you want to give it a try, give it a try. See how your worms love it. My worms love it. They devour it. So I'm always looking at ways to feed the worms, especially when we get into the winter. It becomes a little harder to feed our worms because you're not gardening. You don't have scraps from your garden. You're not really buying some of the fruit and vegetables that are abundant during the summertime that you can get at the grocery store. So it makes it harder and harder to feed them, especially if you have a lot of worms. Like I said, I have 17 bins, and trying to feed them green scraps. Some of them don't get fed green scraps at the same time as all the others. So I may only have enough green waste to feed 4 or 5 bins. So I have to use something else. So I don't always want to just feed them manure. So with the chow and adding the manure in it, they're getting the best of both worlds. Getting a little manure and also getting the worm food, dry worm food. So once again, give it a shot, see how your worms like it, make it in a small batch, and go from there. All right, once again, this is New Era Garden, NEG, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Thank you for watching the video. And any questions about it, anybody looking for any, I can make you up a batch. Tell me what you want, and we can go from there. But the stuff is definitely a good item to actually have in your arsenal of feeding your worms if you have a lot of worms. So, all right, thank you.